Yes.
I'm throwing up blood.
I'm sorry?
I'm throwing up blood.
You're throwing up blood?
Yeah, it's all up in the toilet so y'all can see.
What's your name?
Tanisha Chappell.
And what cell are you in?
3.
Okay.
All right, peace and blessings, ladies and gentlemen. All praises to the Most High. The voice that you just heard crying out for help is that of 23-year-old Tanisha Chappell, who unfortunately lost her life in Jackson County, Indiana, while in the custody of the Jackson County Sheriff's Department. Miss Chappell cried out for at least 20 hours on July the 16th, starting on the 15th, for help while she was experiencing a medical emergency in which the jail staff completely ignored her request. And eventually she passed after they finally took her to the hospital 20 hours later. Now I'm going to play the rest of those calls, but this is just yet another example of how jail staff, prison staff, treat inmates like they are less than human. Now, the story goes at about 8 o'clock the night before. Miss Chappell, who was 23, started calling out to guards through the intercom system. When you're in your cell or when you're in lockup, they have, a button you can push where you can talk to the guards who are normally in the control room. And you'll hear that she continuously telling them, I need help. I need help. And you're going to hear guards just completely disregarding her. And she eventually started vomiting blood. And throughout the night, she continued to tell the jail staff, hey, I'm vomiting blood. I'm vomiting blood. And one deputy said that they brought her a bucket so that she would not have to keep getting out of bed when she was feeling queasy. Now, today, the family has a lawsuit against the jail and 12 staff, including the sheriff of that jail and some sergeants. And they are citing the complete negligence of that staff to provide her medical attention. Several people were involved and knew of her situation. At one point, the following morning, at one point, she was laying on the day room floor at about 8:30 in the morning, topless, covered in feces, and almost unresponsive, continuously crying out for help. And at that point, other inmates in the cell, which you're going to hear, continued to ask the jail staff to give her some medical attention. Now, at this point, that morning, two, female staffs came in and they took her back into the room and they told her that she was faking it. They told her, if you don't get up and get dressed, then you are going to suffer right here. And they left her in the cell. And you'll continue to hear her continue to call the jail staff throughout, to so much point that her only thing she could do was cry. Her words and everything was inaudible. Now, they did call the nurse, and I think his name was Ed Rutan, and he refused to go into the cell for fear that there might be some accusations on his part. And then he said that he gave her some Tylenol. I don't know. I've been in jail a a few times. I don't know what they think Tylenol is going to do. That is their remedy. We gave you some Tylenol. He gave her some Tylenol and said that she would see she will be taken to the medical wing of the jail later on. However, she never made it. At about 3:30, when they finally called the medical examiner to take her to, I think it was Sheck Hospital, 2 hours later, she succumbed to her injuries. And they first tried to say that they didn't know what it was as far as the cause of her expiration. They were saying, well, it may be antifreeze. Now, I don't know where a person would get antifreeze in jail, but that is what they was trying to say. Then they tried to say that she had sickle cell, which she possibly did, and everybody knows sickle cell causes pain, maybe even vomiting. But then another report said that she expired from sepsis, which is an infection, and toxicity from sepsis, which is when bacteria and viruses get in your bloodstream. Nevertheless, I'm going to play these tapes so you can hear for yourself how they completely neglected the care of this 23-year-old woman while she was in their custody, denying her 14th Amendment right for medical care. Just take a listen to the entirety of this, of the calls and the explanation of the calls.
Those were the cries of a Louisville woman who died in the Jackson County Jail in custody, begging for help behind bars hours before her death.
Tanisha Chappell's family now calling for a federal investigation. WDRB's Gilbert Corsi with the new jail recordings.
And guys, Chappell back in July. This is the first time that these calls are coming to light, and we are warning you that some may find it hard to hear because they reveal a slow, painful.
Yes.
I'm throwing up blood.
I'm sorry?
I'm throwing up blood.
You're throwing up blood?
Yeah, it's all up in the toilet so y'all can see.
What's your name?
Tanisha Chappell.
And what cell are you in?
3.
Okay.
This is the first call for help the night of July 15th. Tanisha Chappell in her cell at the Jackson County Jail, talking to corrections staff through an intercom system.
I didn't even want to say guards to come back to police. Please.
What's going on?
The same thing.
Do what?
The same thing.
Over the next 15 hours,
I need help. I need help.
we counted the requests. In the recording, Chappell asked directly for help
I need help.
14 times.
I need help.
There were 5 requests to go to the hospital.
I need to go to the hospital.
Do what?
I need to go to the hospital.
You gotta go to the bathroom.
I need to go to the hospital.
To the hospital?
And right there, you hear the total indifference from that guard. What's up? You need to go where? Huh? Just like her health does not matter. That right there just shows complete negligence. And you can hear from the first time that she was talking, her voice was stronger, more alert, more assertive. This point right here, she's actually begging. You can hear the weakness, the fatigue in her voice. And that should have alerted this officer to make the right call and get her some medical attention. But you're going to see that everyone in this situation was indifferent to her plight.
She told correction staff she was vomiting blood 8 times.
Wrong.
I'm throwing up blood.
Do what?
I'm throwing up blood.
You're throwing up?
Blood.
She asked for a nurse.
I spoke to the sergeant. He said that the nurse will see you in the morning.
4 times other inmates called on her behalf.
Yeah. Can you come do something? What's up? You got we got a naked lady on the floor in here. Give me just.
And eventually, she's so sick.
Can you help me out of time? Huh? Can you help me out of time?
All you can hear are the moans.
It's unfathomable, and I just don't know how like people could really listen to her cry out for help, could see, you know, that she's just withering away and just not care.
From 8 at night to 3 the next afternoon, Tanisha Chappell begged for help. And when she got to the hospital, she was dead 2 hours later. WDRB previously uncovered ER records showing doctors feared she'd been poisoned, possibly by antifreeze. A toxicologist agreed, listing her cause as probable toxicity, but they couldn't determine the substance, so the manner was undetermined.
It's cover up. Like it's there. Like it's not a blind person can see this.
23-year-old mother was arrested in May for shoplifting in a police chase that ended in this crash.
If that's not evidence of neglect that we just heard on that audio, I don't know what the hell is.
The Jackson County prosecutor found no negligence and filed no charges for Chappell. He says jail staff checked on her several times, taking her temperature and blood pressure, and she was seen by a nurse. The county has denied our records request, and the prosecutor refuses on-camera interviews. But in his 16-page report, he found no reckless conduct toward Chappell.
I mean, I don't know what you want me to do unless you're talking up something crazy.
Saying reasonable care are matters of civil law, not criminal law.
It's gut-wrenching. She's dying, and there's plenty of time to save her.
Attorney Sam Aggie are releasing the audio now as the family calls for a federal investigation.
Every call that she made for help was released in its entire form as it was produced to us.
These calls now haunt Chappell's loved ones.
For, you know, me to know that she spent her last, 24 hours in pain and suffering, it's just, like, there's just no words for it.
That was Gil Corsi reporting. We'll stay on top of that story as it moves through the legal system.
And so you heard the numerous calls, and I assume that that is just a sample of the numerous calls that the young lady made throughout the night. Now, there were several, once again, people who were involved. I think there's 12 people now named in the lawsuit, and everybody is seeming to pass the buck. One lady who was the dispatch, and you heard, one lady say, "Okay, just give me just a second," when the ladies told her that she was laying on the floor almost incoherent. But one lady said that, well, I hadn't received the proper training, so I didn't know what to do when she was called. And now another officer said, well, I told the sergeant that there was blood, that I saw blood. But then the sergeant comes back and said, well, no, I never got that information. And so everybody's seeming passing the buck, but there is jail protocol that says anytime that a person is vomiting blood, you have to take them to the emergency room. You have to treat that as a medical emergency. And so there are several people who are culpable, who are responsible for the demise of our dear sister, Miss Tanisha Chappell. And you saw the family there, and even the white commentator admitted, if that's not neglect on that tape, I don't know what it is. And so today, the family, I guess, is looking for civil justice, because as the prosecutor said in his report, oh no, that's not a criminal matter, that is a civil matter. How is denying a person medical attention until they expire, not a criminal matter when you are the only recourse they have to get that medical attention. It's not like that she could just get out of jail and drive herself. No, you have a moral responsibility, an ethical responsibility to provide that woman health care while she's in your custody. And so I think once again, there's so many cases like that, as everybody knows, the case of our brother Robert Brooks up in New York, where they maliciously beat him on camera. Some people even have alerted to the fact that they wanted that video to release to make a point that, yeah, we control these. And I don't know if any officer in that incident has been charged as of yet. So there is a pattern, there's a history, and these stories very rarely get out. Because once you are in custody, once you are an inmate, no one, you have no advocate. You have no advocate behind those bars, and people can do or not do things to you. Now, you saw them mention, hey, she was arrested for shoplifting and, a chase that led to a crash. Albeit, you shouldn't be shoplifting or leading police on a high-speed chase, but that still should not be a death sentence. In this case, it was due to the fact that these workers didn't give her the help that she needed. And I want to read some of this article, a couple of the things from this article that, are disturbing. One guard, Clayton Bannister, said, I don't think she was sick. She was responsive. I mean, it's hard to tell. Like, you don't know if they're faking it. But if she's responsive and looking at me and can walk, she's not sick. Now, how is this jail guard, which I think jail guard, you don't even have to have a high school diploma. If so, he's going to tell what people are having a medical emergency. And, he just told her, well, yeah, she's faking it. And these are responses that these people are making in the deposition for the lawsuit. I guess they were interviewed for the lawsuit. And, each staff member has to give, some statement of their actions. And here it says she's once again asked to go to the hospital at least 20 times between 8 p.m. and 3:30. The sergeant said that she kept saying she was vomiting blood, and the nurse said, we need to have evidence of the blood. And the sergeant said to his staff, if you see blood in there, let me know right away. Now, one guard, and this guard is Seth Boyd, said, I saw the blood. It was around 2:30 a.m. And that's when he brought her the bucket to make sure that she couldn't, or she wouldn't have to keep getting out of bed. And they said the jail policy, once again, is adamant that you have to call a doctor when an inmate vomits blood, but they did. And once again, this is the Boyd guy. Boyd said that he told the sergeant about the blood, and the sergeant said, well, tell her the nurse will see her in the morning. But they never notified the nurse. And then the jail nurse, Ed Rutan, he started his shift at 9 a.m. the morning that she passed. And that's the one who took the vitals and gave her Tylenol and said that she will have a full medical visit in the afternoon. But that visit never happened. And then another guard said that, yeah, I wasn't exactly sure what to do because I hadn't received any training. And then another, this sounds like the lady who was like, well, just give me a second. Chappell called him at 9:20, reporting that she had vomited blood in her sleep. And then this lady, Smith, says, all righty. And then she hung up without telling the nurse or any supervisor. Now, this is according to court records. And then once again, they says that she continued to voice that she needs help, and she was continuously ignored. And this lady, Smith, in her deposition, they asked her, why did she ignore her? And the lady said, I'm not 100% sure why. The reason why is they do not value the inmate and their health. And then they said they finally moved Tanisha to a room at 2:30 p.m. Where she fell and hit her head on the bunk, and she laid on the ground for 40 more minutes as the nurse, Ed Rutan, won't go into the cell because, she didn't have any clothes on. But then that's when he said he sent the 2 female guards in there, and they told her that she was faking it. And so they said when the EMS finally arrived, Chappell propped herself up on a wall, staggered to the gurney, and fell. No one helped her. And once again, she expired at 5:42 p.m., July 16, 2021. Chappell's mother says that they were evil and they treated her like she was a dog. And so, y'all tell me what y'all think in the comments. And this is just, once again, one instance of many that I've heard of. And once again, if you've heard my story, I've been a privy to mistreatment in jail. So this is not something that I've not only heard of, but I've experienced myself as it comes to jail neglect, jail malfeasance, jail misconduct when it comes to being an inmate. And so I hope this family gets some semblance of civil justice, but I hope this story gets out so that, we can put pressure on that prosecutor who clearly said, well, I don't see anything wrong that they did. There's no evidence of nothing wrong that they did. With all of this, all of these depositions, all of these protocols not being followed, this DA sees nothing wrong. And so, once again, this is a clear-cut example of the way the system works, as it is designed to favor some and disregard others. But woe to those who pervert justice and deny help for the needy, as it says in the scriptures. 919-587-7782. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this in the comments. Peace and blessings.
From local stories to Wayne County news, get ready to dive into everything happening in North Carolina with Taylor House Publishing. Got a story to share? Shoot us an email at taylorpublishinghouse@gmail.com. If you're looking to publish your book or need some top-notch mentorship, we've got your back. Join the excitement with the one and only Richard Taylor, right here at Taylor House Publishing. Speak with Richard directly at 919-587-7782. Don't forget to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and invite your family and friends to watch.
From Wayne County to the Carolina coast, Taylor House brings the news you love most. Tune in on YouTube, don't miss a beat. Local stories that keep you in your feet.
Taylor House, we got the scoop. Taylor House Publishing.